All right, something that might help you unwind with all the crazy weather we're about to have. A new yarn store is helping you unwind through the fiber arts. It just opened this year, and it's more than your average craft store. Joining us now are the two faces behind the store, Sivan Bakar. Bakar or Bachar?
Bakar.
Bakar, I was right. Okay, be confident, Tanner. And May McCalman. First of all, tell us about this store. This is a really cool concept that I haven't seen done recently other than like a big box retailer. So why did you guys want to do this store, and tell us all about it?
Well, kind of what you just said, that we haven't seen something like this in Grand Rapids for a few years, like since the pandemic. So we have been artists and fiber artists, crafters for a long time, and we wanted a place that wasn't the big box stores. So that's what inspired Unwind.
Okay, well, I mean, it seems like this is a really, really cool venture because you guys are doing all sorts of different things from like sustainability to inclusion. Can you talk about some of the things that you guys do? Let's start with your workshops and classes. Talk about those. Those seem pretty fun.
Yeah, so a big part of what we do is the education side of this. So right now, a lot of our classes have been starting with our intro level, beginning knitting, beginning crochet, just kind of learning the basics of these things. And we're going to be building up our roster of classes as we go. We're just kind of making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that's a fun class that people want to learn how to do, so we can teach people how to do that. But so that's a big part of what we do, is having space for people to come and sit and learn about yarn, learn about knitting, learn about crochet. So yeah.
Very cool.
What skill level do you need to have? Because I think there's so many people, including a lot of us on our morning team. Emily Scarlett, who's our morning anchor,
She wants to
know how to do these things, but she doesn't necessarily have the baseline skill yet. You guys provide that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who comes in, I'm like, what do you know? What do you want to know?
Okay.
How can I help you? Because some people do get a little confused, and we did bring some yarn here to show you. But like, if you're coming from a big box store, you might not know what to do with yarn that looks like this.
Okay.
So we do teach people all of that stuff when they come in.
And those are some of the tools you've brought in here, is to turn that, which you said before we got in this interview, is quote unquote unusable. Well, not unusable, but unusable in its current form, but you have to do something to it. So what do you have to do? What's that starting point?
So we have to ball it up. So the way that it comes is called a twisted hank. And we have to take that and we're going to turn it into a little cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of yarn.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be a cake of yarn, but they all start out as a skein. That's kind of the quantity of yarn that it comes in. So this is a skein, that's a skein, they're all skeins, but we want it to be in a ball, or like this could also be a ball, or a donut or a cake.
Yeah.
Something that
Why do you need it in that format?
So if we were to use something like this, and I'll take the tag off and show you.
Okay.
The way it's twisted up, it's just a big loop of yarn.
Oh.
So you can use it like this. It's just really hard and difficult, and
difficult.
it's gonna get tangled. So we take it and we turn it into something like that. It just makes it a lot more more usable. Do you want to put that on the
And
Swift?
that honestly is kind of one of those first step things that I'm sure someone who's knitting, crocheting, whatever it is, doesn't know to do that, and then they're so frustrated because they have this long piece of yarn waiting for them. So that's a great first start.
And they sell yarn like this at some of the big box stores, but then not all the employees at those stores know what to do with it, so they just sell it and send you on your way.
Like, here you go.
Yeah, so people have come in and they're like, I have this tangled mess. It's like, it's hard. Then it's hard to come back from that. So we'll show you how to get from this to a nice cake.
Yeah, so you brought the tools to do it, so go ahead and do it. And so what are the tools that you brought in? What is that called that you're wrapping this, what did you call it?
This is well, it was a twisted hank, and now it's just a hank. But it's also still a skein.
Okay.
So.
And a skein, like, to put it into perspective, like, how much yarn is that exactly?
That's going to depend on
this one is 290 yards or 266 meters.
Okay, if you're on the metric system.
Yeah, which we are a lot. We actually do use it a lot because a lot of the patterns are from Europe, so we end up using the metric system a lot, actually.
Interesting. Okay, so you put it on the skein.
This is a yarn Swift.
Okay.
So we put.
Wow, there's a lot of terminology.
We put this on here. It's called an umbrella Swift because it lifts up like an umbrella. Getting ready for that rain this weekend.
I love it.
And then they usually have some extra little pieces, just tying it together, keeping everything
so you're gonna
organized.
snip
So we
those
snip
off.
those off. These are scrap. We can get rid of those.
I'm
And
just
then,
like mesmerized by it turning like
Right.
that. Wow.
all right, and then you'll find one that's usually attached to the end. So we've got our end here, and we can either untie it or just clip it.
Rip it off.
Yeah, and then you want to make sure we're not tangled here.
Okay.
Because it'll make for
And how do
the-
you check for tangles? Do you just do it, go around and make
Yeah,
sure
and making
that
sure it's not twisted or spiraled
Yeah.
up, and
Okay.
then I'll hand off that yarn
Yeah.
to Sivan.
And is this something that you guys can do in your store?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with a yarn purchase, we'll wind up your yarn for you.
Oh,
we want you
nice.
to go home and be able to use it. And a lot of times we'll say, "Do you want this to get wound up?" And people are like, "I don't know what that
What does
means.
that mean?
Do
Yeah.
I want that?" I was like, "Yes, you do."
Yes, you do.
So while we're winding up the yarn, tell us a little bit about your guys' mission.
Yeah,
the company.
so we both come from an education background. We
Yeah.
actually met in GRPS during the pandemic while we were doing virtual professional development meetings. I saw Sivan knitting in a meeting, and I
You're
was
like,
like,
hey, friend.
yeah, I direct messaged her in our Zoom call or whatever it was.
Like, what are you making?
Yeah.
Oh, I
And I just like, I think I was making a sweater. I was like, sweater, and
Yeah.
you're like, sock.
Yeah. So we were both knitting during this meeting, and I was like, oh, I want to be friends with her. So we were kind of just teachers then.
Yeah.
And liking to knit and crochet, and then a couple years later, we kind of kept running into each other. We have some mutual friends, and I was at a party kind of talking about how we don't have a local yarn store.
You're like,
Yeah.
I literally heard you say the phrase, I think I want to open up a yarn store in Grand Rapids. And I slid in and was like, wait,
really, how
that's
Yeah.
what I want to do.
I love that. So friends ever since, and
Yeah.
now you guys do have this yarn store.
Yeah.
What has that process been like from being teachers? Of course, you kind of alluded to it at the party. You talked about it, but from the time when you were first thinking about this to now, I mean, how do you even get off the ground with something like a yarn store?
That's a great
yeah.
question.
How did we? Well, we ran into each other again later, and Sivan was like, "Were you serious about that?" And I was like, "As serious as you are."
Yeah,
and
you're
then
like,
we
"Yeah."
kind of, it was like we were playing chicken. Like, are we really gonna do this?
Yeah.
And then we started looking into it. We started just looking at retail spaces and seeing what we would want for a space. And then we just decided to do it.
Yeah.
It came together fast and slow at the same time. Like, this was years in the mental inception of it, but
Okay.
then we really didn't start talking about it till September.
I would say like end of August or
Yeah.
September.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because you guys are still applying your teaching background to educating folks about the fiber arts,
Yeah.
how you can do things
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, spinning into your cake or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just really cool that you guys still get to continue on that educational
Right,
background.
and that's a
Absolutely.
huge part of our mission, bringing more people in, and that's kind of why we've started out with our classes really focusing on the intro, because
Okay.
we want more people to get into it. It's really popular with younger people now,
Yeah.
so the more people learn, that's how you build the community and end up lasting in a space. I think.
Absolutely. I imagine
Yeah.
that there's a little bit of a generation gap of people, because I know it became really popular during the pandemic, with you
Yep.
said, with younger crowds. And then, of course, I know my grandma's still knitting today, but I'm sure you guys could definitely continue to feed the gap. Sustainability is incredibly important to me as a scientist. Why is that part of your mission?
Well, because we care about
Yeah.
that as well. And it's just, there's so many materials out there already. We actually last weekend ran an unraveling workshop where we took thrifted sweaters and took them apart and unraveled them to get new yarn.
That's actually
And I call
really
it
cool.
harvesting yarn.
Yes.
But you can go to a thrift store and you can find something that's too big for you or not your style, but you like how it feels and you like the
Right.
color of the yarn. So then you can unravel it and make anything else from it that you want. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
there's so many ways to reuse and recycle in yarn.
You don't think about that, the sustainability practice of it. And, it's something as simple as that old sweater that you had in your closet,
Yep.
10 years ago? And you're like, you know what, let's turn that into something
Get a little
else.
refresh on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay, so we've got our yarn up
Yeah.
here, and then you start twisting it there to kind of get
Yes.
things over to that little
Yep.
Yes, so this is
Contraption?
a ball winder.
A ball
and
winder?
You can do this without any of these materials.
Okay.
Like you
Oh,
could
okay.
take the hank and put it on the back of a chair, have someone hold it up,
Yep.
and then
Okay.
you ball it up by hand.
Yeah.
You don't need
You can
these
have a
things.
good friend help
Yeah.
you out with it. I had someone come into the store, and I was like, do you want this yarn wound up for you? She had like 6 or 7 hanks, and she said, no, that's my husband's job.
Yeah.
I love
You got
that.
the husband trained.
Yeah, I was like, that's great.
But this does make it a lot easier. So really
much
all I'm going
faster.
to do is I'm just going to start to turn this now that it's threaded through, and I'm going to start
Wow.
winding the yarn.
I mean, it looks like we've got a lot of yarn there, but how long does the process typically take? Not long, right?
Not
A
long.
few minutes,
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 at
Okay.
most.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the hank is.
Okay.
How long it is. Yeah.
Well, very interesting. I know you guys have a number of workshops too that you
Yeah.
guys run, some reoccurring workshops as well. Go ahead and tell us about those. What can we expect from those?
Yeah, so we try to kind of keep them seasonally. So we have one coming up that's going to be a flower crochet bouquet.
Okay.
That Savon is teaching, and it's kind of before Mother's Day, but also coming into spring. So trying to theme things around then. We did a crochet heart workshop
Yeah.
around Valentine's. We also have one coming up next weekend, I think.
The Intarsia workshop? I think you're right.
Okay.
Next weekend we have an Intarsia workshop, which is a type of color work.
Neither of I have a little
Savon
bit of
has a
Intarsia
pocket
in my
that
pocket.
is
okay,
some
yep.
Intarsia color work. My sweater
cool.
is a stranded type of color work, so we definitely have those types of things in our future,
You
teaching
guys make
people.
your clothes?
We did.
Sorry,
What?
I had,
made
to
our
I had to intersect and ask that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Continue with the classes.
Yeah, so we've got that coming up next weekend. We also next weekend have a collaboration with Earthbound Ceramic Studio. So it's a 2-day workshop where one day you go and you hand build a coffee pour over, and
Okay.
then you come to us and you make coasters to go along with that. So we really want to be involved in the local community with other small businesses and trying to get people interested in these crafts, even if it's not yarn.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
We have just a couple of seconds left for this interview. Can we pull up the graphic that shows their hours in case anybody would like to go to their store? So Monday, they're closed Tuesday and Wednesday. I know she's desperately trying to get this finished for us. Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're open. Of course, you can find all of their events on their website. Where can people find you? What's the address?
1059 Wealthy Street Southeast. We are Suite D, so we're in the same building as 40 Acres. We're just around
Okay.
the corner a little
Okay.
bit. I know people sometimes have trouble finding us, but we're right there. We're walking distance from a lot of residential areas.
There she is. And
so-
scene.
Come
Look at
unwind
that.
with us.
There you
Yes.
go. Unwind
Oh.
or wind it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
we wish
cool
you guys
stuff.
so much luck in the future, and what an incredible whole new scope and opportunity for us here in West Michigan to be able to check out. So awesome
Absolutely.
stuff.
All right.